Biga time. The Biga is the pre-ferment that we're going to use. We've already discussed it a little bit. I am adding organic whole grain rye to this, as well as the white wheat. Why do I add the rye? The rye sours a little bit differently than the whole wheat flour, and so it's going to give a little bit more flavor. What I'm going to do is I'll take a cup of the rye. The rye has has different enzymes than the wheat, and it activates or acts different and will activate in a different manner than the wheat. So I add that to it. Put in a cup of the whole wheat flour. And there's no rule. You could definitely use all wheat flour, all whole wheat flour. And then I need my yeast here. And the trick with something that a pre-ferment that we're going to let sit overnight is just a little bit of yeast. So we're taking just 1/3 of a tablespoon, 1/3 of a teaspoon, excuse me, the smallest spoon I have, and adding it there. And that's still probably millions of yeast bacteria, but that will be more than enough to get this going. And those yeast, I believe at around 80 degrees, will reproduce, divide every 4 hours. So after 24 hours, that means that they will have divided 6 different times. And if somebody wants to, you can do the math and really figure out how many more yeast cells that is, but it's a lot. And so again, this is a very, very stiff pre-ferment. And so you need a spatula to work it together. Doing the same kind of kneading motion of folding it on top of itself. But we're really not going to do any gluten development with this. This is really just to mix the yeast, the flour, and the water together. Make sure the flours are well blended. Forms up into something of a nice little ball. Mix it around a few more times. I can see that it's well mixed.
So Biga is distinctly different from a pre-ferment.
Well, a Biga is a type of pre-ferment. You know, in the pre-ferment family, you're going to have your sourdoughs, very well known, levain, which is a subset of sourdoughs. Then you'll have your pouliche, which we did the last time. That's 1-to-1, 1 cup water, 1 cup flour. The Biga, which is about 2 cups of flour to 1 cup of water, so it's a much denser. And then there's whole things about sponges. And then let me see, the final one is pâte fermentée, or pâte ferment, which is just old dough, where you're using old dough as the seed to bring flavor and additional dough development and different different characteristics, or different, more than anything, flavor, I think, to your dough. And the French work a lot with pâte fermentée, or pâte ferment, and I used to use it quite a bit in the bakery. So Biga is very Italian. Italians traditionally have very weak flour that they've had to deal with, and the way to strengthen the flour is through a dense pre-ferment, the Biga, which will add strength to it because it produces more acid in theory. So that's what we've got going here. This is going to just sit for 24 hours now, and we'll look at it during the time that our bread is rising. We're working on our bread and see what's going on with it, okay?